Hmm. Dose or Two. Well, it's now on Netflix. It is an interesting concept. A man and a woman wake up naked with their abdomens attached to each other and have to figure out what's going on and how they got there. So, first off, if you're not okay with nudity, this won't be the film for you. Just like I stated in the synopsis, we've got two people who wake up in bed completely nude and are attached in the gut area. So, the majority of this 70-minute movie, they are sans clothing. So, if that bothers you, you're going to want to skip the film. This didn't really have a bearing, though, on my review. This is a quick and sparse story in pretty much a single setting location. Our two characters, David and Sarah, are discombobulated and very confused as to what is going on when they wake up in bed together. So they try to see if they can determine any clues that are going to help them solve the mystery that they now find themselves involved in. So the story has a very intriguing concept. I mean, I love the fact that we have two strangers waking up attached with no memory or knowledge of why they'd be like that. Then they're placed in an area that is completely unfamiliar, and then you couple that with the lights that suddenly go out, plunging our characters into complete darkness, and then strange sounds coming from outside the room that they're being kept in. As they talk to one another, suspicions arise and theories are developed, and the mysterious aspect of this, I think, could be outstanding. But it's not. I mean, yeah, there is some mystery, but the story rushes us through everything and then places in some very large conveniences to progress the plot even faster than it's already going. Now, the concept reminded me slightly of Saw. I mean, think about it. We've got these strangers waking up in a room and they need to get out, and there could be some clues as to why they're there. Now, this one is just its own story. I mean, it's just the concept alone that made me think of that tense horror. Now, the pace of this is really uneven, or at least in the storytelling progression. The beginning is tense and it builds out some suspense, but then the last act of the story arrives and it's resolved in what feels like less than 10 minutes. I mean, there's this exposition dump and then the movie's over. Had this taken even just an additional 20 minutes to build out more story and character tension, I think this could have been an effective thriller. I mean, make the plot force our characters to examine clues. Let them stew so that they have deeper and lengthier conversations, and then tease out any external threat. This then would have the potential to set our teeth on edge and have us genuinely invested in the players. I felt no connection to the characters, and I wasn't really invested in their outcomes. I mean, I did want to know how and why they ended up the way they did, but I wasn't afraid for them. And because of this, the only tension I really felt was the visceral reactions that I got watching some of the body horror. And even in that, it's not terribly graphic, but it is well crafted. The actors did a great job of conveying convincing reactions when it came to their bodies. I mean, I felt some of what they were feeling in these instances, and I was yelling at them to stop doing certain things. But outside of that, I wasn't as invested as I think I should have been. And then there's even a darker twist that could have been exploited more, yet was barely scratched upon. I mean, once again, reinforcing the fact that the storyline was rushed, which I think is the result, really, of an underdeveloped story. Now, one big positive I can give this is that I did not guess the outcome at all. I mean, so the story's ability to keep that from me, I thought was good. When I first heard about this, I was excited at the potential. Now, having seen it though, it's not worth the time, even if it is extremely short. The story never leverages the suspense that it's attempting to build, and this is mostly due to a story that just doesn't feel developed and fleshed out. The elements are there, but the execution is like the movie was made just off some ideas scratched out on a napkin. The actors are okay for what they have to do, but because the narrative doesn't spend the time for us to get invested in them and then their predicament, no weight is attached to their well being, so I was never concerned for their outcome. There's sex, a lot of nudity and profanity, and a bunch of violence. I give Dose the same score as its name, 2 out of 5 couches. Are there any good thrillers or mysteries that you've watched recently? I'm always looking for suggestions to add to my list to check out. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.